Welcome to the ozguri.com screencast tutorial lesson about open source and free games for Linux and Ubuntu. This tutorial is done in Ubuntu 9.0, Jaunty Jackalope, and here what I've done is I've just clicked on applications and gone to add or remove, add/remove applications, and it brings this up. Now you need to make sure that show's got all available applications selected, and then if you're interested in games, as this screencast is about, then select games on the left. And you can order them by popularity. That way you get the ones that the Ubuntu developers think are the most popular in this repository of games. Bear in mind that not all games are here, obviously, and all the games in here aren't always the latest versions. If they're games that are still under heavy development, there might be newer versions on the websites, but that doesn't really matter. They are ones that are tested to work properly. And as you can see, I'm scrolling through here, there's quite a long list of impressive games, and as you can see, the ones that have ticks are the ones I've already installed previously. Now I'm just looking through here, like that's a SimCity clone, that's a car racing game, that's like a Warcraft game. So, you know, and you can just click on them and it gives you a description, says what game it might be similar to. Most of these games are all created, you know, by volunteer developers and students and things like that. A lot of IT courses require students to make small games, and so subsequently there's a lot of free games out there that have been made by students. And also then the other thing is that commercial game companies, sometimes when they go under, they open source their stuff, or you know, ID Software and a few others have open sourced their code for some of their games, like Quake and others, and then open source developers have turned that, like by making new maps and graphics and gameplay info, they've turned it into new games. So like there's Alien Arena and things like that, and they're new versions of like old popular games that you used to have to pay money for, but they're actually better than the originals. So, so I recommend that if you aren't aware that about gaming on Linux, that you have a look and look through the list of all these games here, just as an example of how many millions of hours you could spend wasting your time playing games in Linux. Now, I have to say that my Nana, her favourite thing to do with Linux is play games. She loves all these little card games and all those kind of little memory games and things like that. So there's quite a lot of those type of games. Personally, I'm not interested in them. I don't install those type of games. But my Nana loves them, and she says that's one of the main reasons she goes to Linux, because those games, like most of these games, this is one of the great things about Linux. It actually does have software that you can't get in Windows, and a lot of these games here you'll see you can't get them in Windows at all. There are no Windows versions. Maybe there might be, a Mac version, because it's easier to port a Linux game to a Mac, but some of them there are. I mean, a few things like Open Arena, the really big projects, there'll be Windows versions. Okay, so just be aware that there is actually a whole huge world out there of open source free games where and I personally have spent many days just wasting my time just playing games that are completely free. I don't buy games. Well, I guess I do. I've got a Nintendo Wii and I buy games for that. But on another subject, I actually have done the homebrew hack on that, so I've been able to install extra free games on it. That's a good idea for another tutorial in the future, so stay tuned on how to do homebrew. It's all different now these days anyway. You can update it, and I've got wireless going through there, and it's pretty cool. Anyway, off the subject slightly. Although I should mention, I guess, that the homebrew Nintendo Wii hack stuff is all based off Linux stuff as well, and when it loads, it's got some of these games that you see in this list here are actually available for the Nintendo Wii through homebrew hack. So that's a cool thing. I've actually installed some of these same games on my TV. Through my I'm able to play them on my TV through my Wii. Like there's a free version of Doom. It was based off the original Doom game, for example, as you can see. So I think I'll install that. Oh, then I realised that there was another one. See, there's two different versions because two different little development teams decided to make new versions of Doom. And there's one, oh look, it's a train railway simulator. Oh, I used to like playing that type of game, so let's give that a go. So I'll just select a game that I want, and then click apply. And here it's giving me a little summary of all the different games that I've chosen to install today. So there's a bunch of little games that sounded interesting to me. And we'll just click on that and put your password in, because Linux is much more secure and requires you to always put a password in to enter to change software or make major system changes or anything. Anyway, so I've got a bit of a slow internet connection here, as you can see. I'll just pause the video for a second while it downloads. You just normally would, open another program up, surf the web or whatever, do something else while that's happening. Some of my favourite games for Linux are Open Arena, Blast. There's a whole bunch. Frozen Bubble's a lot of fun. Alright, so it's good. It's finished installing all those games successfully pretty quickly. So let's just try one of them out, shall we? Just so I can demonstrate how many games I've got installed. Have a look at my games list. It's so long that on my super high resolution screen it doesn't fit all the whole list, But that's cool, it's alright. You just look through here, look at all the different games. Now if you hover your mouse over a program or game long enough, it will pop up with the description. This is one of the new little games that I've installed. Now, just bear in mind that the frame rate would have been much higher and smoother and stuff if obviously I wasn't doing a screen capture software, which drains the abilities for that to work smoothly. But it's just a little fun game that I go, oh yeah, I like these kind of little shoot 'em up games. There's there's a couple in Linux and they're quite good. And well, thanks for watching this tutorial. I hope you decide to give open source gaming a try, even if you're still on Windows. It's a good way, if you get addicted to a few open source games, then you can switch to Linux because those games are also there. So thanks for watching. Bye.